week 8 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few tight ends I have as sleepers this week. The first guy, Mike Gesicki of the New England Patriots. So Mike Gesicki, he's had a couple decent ball games this season with 2 games, 8 or more fantasy points on the end. Last week, he walked it off with a game-winning touchdown with a few seconds remaining in that one to beat the Buffalo Bills in the upset victory. 2 catches, 5 yards, and a touchdown. So right now, Mac Jones, we know he likes to throw the football underneath. He likes the big targets in the red zone, and that's what Mike Gesicki definitely is here for this New England Patriot team, being the number 2 tight end on the roster behind Hunter Henry, obviously. But this week here, it's a matchup at the Miami Dolphins, his former team. And going back to week 2, he had the second best game of the season versus this Dolphin team, where the juices are flowing for any player when they got to verse their former team, especially now going on the road. But week 2, like I said, versus them, 5 catches, 33 yards. So this week here, I think Gesicki have a decent, sneaky ball game. And right now, he's available in 97% of fantasy leagues. Next tight ends, Trey McBride, the Arizona Cardinals. So Zach Ertz, he went on IR. He's going to miss minimum of 4 games. And Trey McBride, one of the better college football tight ends to come out in the draft over the last 4 or 5 seasons. Last year, he didn't really do much, even though he had opportunity when Zach Ertz was out for the season after mid-year. And so far this season, we haven't seen much here from McBride. But now he's going to be the starter. And it's a youth movement over there, obviously, in Arizona as well, where they're out of it already this season. And you might as well play the young guys, even if Ertz was injured or not. So the last 2 games for McBride, week 6 at the Rams, 4 catches, 62 yards. And week 7 at the Seahawks, 3 catches, 29 yards. So this week, definitely a tough matchup versus the Baltimore Ravens. I give up the second least amount of fantasy points to tight ends on the season. But right here, I think Trey McBride could go out there, could be a sneaky option. And he's available in 93% of fantasy leagues. And the third and final tight end I have as a sleeper is a player who's been on this list a lot this season, Tyler Conklin of the New York Jets. So this week, a pretty decent matchup at the New York Giants, even though they both play in the same stadium, and it's pretty much a home game for the Jets anyway. So Conklin, he's been the second guy in this passing game for the New York Jets, I believe, as a viable option. Allen Lazard hasn't done much this season. C.J. Uzomah is the backup tight end. And Conklin, he's got 3 games with 9 or more fantasy points this season. So the last 2 games before their bye, week 5 at Denver, he had 4 catches, 67 yards. And week 6 versus Philadelphia, 3 catches, 24 yards. So this week here in a matchup at the Giants, where it's going to be a grinded out game, and I think it'll come down to the wire. I think Conklin once again could carve out a decent performance. And right now, he's available in 94% of fantasy leagues. That's a few tight ends I have as sleepers here for week 8 of the fantasy football season.